He's alive! Alive!
Alright, hello and welcome to yet another game reviewer who thinks they know everything they're talking about and thinks that someone else will give a shit about their opinion. I'm Botched Experiment, X for short. The difference between me and most of the other reviewers is that I'm actually a female, though I'm sure you think I'm a pubescent male, because everyone else on Xbox Live does. And I actually know the difference between the jump button and my fucking belly button. Moving on. Not to say that others don't know what they're talking about, it's just that, well, we don't exactly see reincarnations of Ben Yahtzee Croshaw popping up everywhere, delivering reviews that are agreeably insulting and make sense. And if you don't know who Yahtzee is, please bludgeon yourself to death with a large brick, and the rest of us who have any sense at all will get on with our existence. I probably wouldn't be doing this shit if it weren't for Yahtzee. I don't want to sound like a fangirl, but the man knows what he's talking about. Anyway, to why I'm here, this is my first online review of a video game, so don't bash me just because you don't like or agree with my opinion, unless you have a valid point, to which I would reply, then why aren't you doing this? Stop being lazy and get a mic. Join the masses. Moving on. I had decided through much consideration that my first review would be of one of my personal favorite games. Well, okay, I can't say that. It's a game I thought was This game was made by Square Enix, and no, it's not Kingdom Hearts, and no, it's not Final Fantasy 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 1 zillion. So just stop right there, those of you who are about to say anything that even sounds like woot in any form whatsoever. The game I am talking about is actually one not widely known to anybody who doesn't watch anime. It's Fullmetal Alchemist and the Broken Angel. Now, and yes, it was made by Square Enix, I checked. Now, the gist of the game is most likely has already been grasped by anyone watching this who's a fan of the anime series, but I have to say that I was, as a fan of the anime series, or a former fan anyway, somewhat, if not mostly, disappointed by the outcome of this game. For those of you who don't watch the anime, here's a quick rundown for you. Okay, you start off as the game's protagonist, Edward Elric, who is basically a blonde kid with fake limbs, a position in the military at the age of 16, and a Napoleon complex that would make Danny DeVito look like the Dalai Lama. You are followed around by your younger brother Alphonse, who is basically a giant walking hollow suit of armor with the disposition of a sleeping kitten. Despite being the younger brother, he towers over Edward due to the armor, but let's face it, even if he were human, he would still probably be taller. Anyway, the game played pretty solid, but there were a few bits that bothered me, such as the second major boss. Now, I know the second boss isn't exactly supposed to be a cakewalk, but it's also not supposed to be difficult, that you have to replay it about 50 times and hear the same dialogue about 50 fucking times, until by some miracle you actually land the final blow before your health runs out and beat the boss. Oh, right, I didn't mention, you fight 3 guys at once. Yeah, it's a great way to get a feel for the controls in the beginning of the fucking game, yeah. You don't even know the difference between the jump button and the attack button. You're fighting 3 guys at once. Anyway. Also, the graphics. Okay. Now, if you're a fan of the classic Square Enix end-all, make you drool, faint, and fall over graphics from the amazing cutscenes of Final Fantasy games, and to a slightly less sophisticated extent, Kingdom Hearts 1 or 2, then prepare to be sorely disappointed. If you're playing the game as a diehard fan of the anime series Fullmetal Alchemist, then hooray for you, because all the cutscenes are animated clips. The game is basically like an episode or a mini-movie that you have to work to watch. As for the in-game graphics, they're basically reminiscent of older Final Fantasy games. Now, I'm not saying older as in as far back as Final Fantasy 7 or before that, kind of more like Final Fantasy 8 to Final Fantasy 10 graphics. Now, I did not have the patience or personal time to beat this game all the way through myself, mostly because I discarded gameplay at the sight of the 5th boss, which was a giant pig-toad hybrid. I was done by that time. But I did have an acquaintance who did have more patience than I did, so he beat the game while I watched in amiable boredom, nodding off every few minutes while his brother poked me with a sharp stick to keep me awake. Also, perhaps you've noticed I haven't really given a synopsis on the storyline. Well, maybe that's because I really couldn't grasp one. Maybe you can, I don't know, go give it a shot. All in all, the game pretty much sucked. You would have to be a gamer that spends every minute every day on one game to even get to the third level. This is my opinion. I don't know. And you'd probably have to actually watch the anime series at least 3 or 4 episodes in to actually follow the storyline if one exists. Point being, if you want to watch Frodo turn a box into a barrel with magic lights with his good friend the Cylon from Battlestar Galactica, then this would be the game for you. But if your standards are set to at least an intelligent bare minimum, then avoid this game like the plague, and go use your time for something more productive and entertaining like, I don't know, mowing the lawn with your toothbrush.
I come from a land down under.